Hello, my name is Sadak Puri. I'm a current junior here at the University of Denver. We're joined today with Dr. Daniel Pittman, who's going to tell us about himself today. So over to you now. So tell us kind of a little bit about yourself.
Oh yeah, so I'm a new professor of the practice here in the computer science department. Been with DU a long time though. I started here first in 2005 as a master's student. I got my PhD in 2012 and been working in industry since 2007. So I got when I got my PhD, I always knew I wanted to teach one day. And so I got this opportunity to come here as professor of the practice. So I decided I'd leave industry later this year and then come here full time.
Very cool. Yeah, and kind of how did you decide on the University of Denver in specific?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I was born and raised in Pensacola, Florida, and that's where all my family is. And at the time, the reason I moved out of Pensacola was not the brightest reason in the world. It was for a girl, right? So that was why I left. And I was originally going to be in Wyoming, at the University of Wyoming. I got a phone, I didn't have an assistantship there at Wyoming. I was going to take student loans. I got really fortunate. DU at the last minute got an additional TA slot, and I had applied here, but there was no assistantship at the time. And so they contacted me at the last minute and asked me if I could be a TA here. And I accepted. I came here in like 2 days, after I got the phone call. And it's really become my second home, right? So like I said, that was 14 years ago when I got that phone call. And being here, get full-time, getting my master's degree with 2 years, and then working another 5 with my advisor to get my PhD by 2012. It just really did feel like a home away from home for me. The professors here are really nice. The classroom size is really small. It was really nice to have that kind of personalized engagement, and it really just made me feel very comfortable here. So it's kind of where I always wanted to be.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned your PhD. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so my PhD was in networks as applied to games.
Okay.
So I did some research, population studies for World of Warcraft. Okay. Which is actually really fun. It's kind of nice to be able to play games and do research in them for. So it was kind of nice being given that opportunity. So we wanted to model player movements between zones. It was sort of peer-to-peer networking. So we're trying to see if we can model how often players move between zones, how often they logged on and off, how long they were in the game, things like that. We could try to decide the churn and the load on a peer-to-peer system, because the way it had been modeled up until that point had been very simplistic. We wanted to get a more realistic model of that. We also looked at how to do trading card games like Magic the Gathering kind of thing without a centralized server. Like how could we shuffle a deck, deal cards, do repudiation that you won a game, that kind of thing, without having a centralized server. So that was kind of the focus of my PhD. But as time's moved on, I've gotten more and more interested in security. So now, as I'm here as a full-time professor, I'm going to be looking at cybersecurity research.
Very cool. And kind of along with that, what kind of classes are you going to be teaching here at the University of Denver?
So I've been teaching as an adjunct for the last 2.5 years. And great story about that. The reason I teach is Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah.
So I play D&D with my advisor, Chris. He's now the chair of the department. And Jeff Edgington, another professor here. We played D&D for years. And we had an opportunity. Chris was teaching Web Development 1. We wanted to teach a Web Development 2 class. Now the professors really had that skill set to be able to bring that in. So I'm doing web development professionally, full stack web development, more of a server side guy, but I've done UI development in the past. And Chris was talking, he said, this would be a great opportunity for you maybe to adjunct, get to learn some things about teaching, right? And it's something I wanted to know whether or not I'd enjoy. As I said earlier, the reason I got my PhD was hopefully to teach. So I said, hey, this is great. And I love the fact it came out of a D&D game because it's just a great story. So you asked me, if you ever asked me what a hobby is, D&D to this day is still something I'm passionate about because I feel like my whole career came into place because of it.
So I'd like to thank Dr. Pittman here for his time, and I'd like to welcome you to the Ritchie School of Engineering. So we look forward to having you here.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much.